I'm going to make a new file, and it is going to be called what? It's going to be called index.com. But I can't put that index.com back in the same folder because I already have an index.com. So what I'm going to do is on my desktop, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it Mac-Web because I'm making this tutorial for Mackenzie, who I think will find it useful, and I think you will find it useful too. So I'm going to paste in some of my previously existing code because it was good. It was good code. It was good. Oh man, I didn't mean to take care of that. And I'm going to go desktop index. Perfect. There we are. There we are. I don't have a style sheet. I'm going to make one, and I'm going to call it My Styles. I don't have one. I'm saying that I'm going to call it My Styles, and then I will make one with the name My Styles. Let's do that. Let's see, file, save, My Styles, CSS. Perfect. I have no styles. I have no style yet, but I will add some in there. I just want to make sure everything is set up correctly. My Styles, HTML. Perfect. Okay, I want to refresh myself by adding a body tag, open and close curly brace, and I'm going to give myself a background color of this rosy gray. It is actually not going to matter, and you will see why. So I have my page and my style sheet, and when I click on my index.html and max folder, so it's a different index.html, I'll open with Firefox, and here's my new page. There's no content in there. You see that the title says my second page. I'm going to change that to Demo for Mac. Perfect. you notice that I dropped out the background of my butterfly. Well, I need to make sure that I don't have this background layer or that it is transparent. So I'm going to trash this background layer, and then do you see this gray and white checkerboard? That means that there's actual transparency. So I need to save this again as butterfly ping, because pings have transparency when you make it transparent. And I'm going to replace that. So now I'm going to go through that and do that with all of mine. Okay, I now have my images. All of the pings are with transparency here. The background's a JPEG because I don't need transparency in that. Okay, I'm going to jump over to my style CSS. And originally I showed you I put a background color in my image. Let's jump over to Firefox and open up our little index that we've been working on. And I'm going to close some of these things that we no longer need. Great. Okay. The first thing I want to do is I want to, instead of having a color for my background, I want to have a background image. The code for the background image is URL, open and close parentheses, and inside of those, you want to choose the image that you want to use. And mine is background.jpg. Let's see if this worked. I'm going to hit refresh, and it didn't work. Let's see. It didn't work because I had image instead of images, and you see my folder is named images. Great. Holy cow, there's my background. And in fact, I could try and open it as wide as I could to see what's going on, and it would tile eventually. So I'd just still see more of the same. Cool, that's great. Now in my div class main content, I'm going to create a couple of divs with the class name that's going to match what's inside the div. So butterfly will be one div class. And I have a couple options, but I'm going to close that div for the moment. I'm going to copy and paste this. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And instead of butterfly, why I want to select one word? I don't know. Caterpillar, possibly spelled incorrectly. I think it's caterpillar, but not mine. Flowers, shell, and spider. I'm just giving them class names, right? I have a couple options. I could put the images here. Right here, I can put image source equals, and then I would say images / butterfly. See, it knows that I want that butterfly dot ping, and we will get rid of the incorrect caterpillar and the trash. Okay, yep. What I was saying is you can put the image in between the opening and closing div tag if you want, but you might want the flexibility of putting the image in using CSS. So I have butterfly. Remember, my class name over here is butterfly. I have butterfly, open and close curly brace, background, image, URL, and in this case, images, butterfly, ping. Okay, when I hit refresh, look what happens. Nothing. But wait, we did it just the same as we did here. Here's the thing. Divs like to know how high and how wide you want them to be, their width and height. So I'm going to go back to Command I, and I see that my butterfly is 377 pixels wide by 252 high. So 377 pixels and 252 pixels. Let's see what happens when I hit refresh now. Hey, there it is. The nice thing about having it pulling that image in through CSS is you can do some exciting stuff. This is kind of a dumb example, but I could write some text on top of the butterfly because the text is inside of the div and the butterfly is the background image. That could be really handy. Great. So I'm going to do that for all of my other ones. Cool. I'm going to Okay, I gotta be honest, I took a little break and this is not going to be seamless from the last teeny bit that we just talked about. But a couple things. A, my caterpillar, it was just too sloppy. It was too poor of a picture. So I just commented that out. And I did that by highlighting these lines of code. And I actually just went to the help and I typed comment. And you can toggle comments back and forth on and off. I'm leaving comment in, by the way, comment in CSS is /star / as opposed to HTML, which if you remember was exclamation, it was caret exclamation point dash dash. Great. The whole point is don't want that caterpillar. And then, so I have everything else listed here nicely. Yeah, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 objects, one stacked on top of another. But Mac wanted a situation where she could have her characters floating around in her browser window, and then you would click on one character and it could bring you to another character somewhere else on the page. So actually what I'm going to do is right now, if there were a line or border around my 4 pictures, it would be square and it would look like something like this, and they would be all stacked next to each other. But really what I want them is sort of spread across my browser window. To do that, I am going to go and put them in the place that I want them to be. Never mind. So what I need to say is I want to put them each in a position, and the position is going to be relative. It's going to relate to one another, and we'll talk about absolute position in a little bit. So I want a relative position, and then what I'd like to do with this butterfly is I would like it to be 500 pixels from the top of my browser window, and I would like it to be 500 pixels from the left side of my browser window. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to hit refresh, and look what happens. My butterfly flew all the way to the middle of my browser window. Great. Okay, cool. That's just what I wanted. Now, what will happen is if I make the browser window smaller or larger, it won't actually affect that butterfly and the butterfly's location. Now, let's try going to the flowers, and I'm just going to copy and paste the code and put it in the flowers. And what I would like with my flowers is I want it to be only 50 pixels from the top and 50 pixels from the left. Let's see what that looks like. Hey, what's happening here? It's not really listening to me. Well, I can actually right-click on any browser window and go to Inspect Element. And what happens is it shows me my code. And not only does it show me my code, but in this case, it's showing me my butterfly, and it's showing me my flowers, and it's showing me the kind of invisible square around each object. What's happening is my flowers is not listening to me telling it to be 50 pixels from the top and 50 pixels from the left, because it still has a relationship with these other objects. What happens instead of a position relative, I say position absolute. What happens there? I'll hit refresh. Whoa, all of a sudden, my flowers snapped to that 50-50 position that I wanted it